Was it Allure, I think is the name of it. Yeah, the spell that creates noise, basically. It's your magic version of the Alluring Skull. But yes, I was told that would actually work on the Capra Demon. I'm also kind of curious if Hidden Body will work on him, like kind of keep one of the dogs from attacking. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that on. And let's go ahead and use... Oral Decoy, that's it. Oral Decoy. It's a weird word. Yeah, as an auditory, right? I'm a D&D player, so my first thought on seeing that is like Orin, you know, from referring to air and stuff like that. Not quite the same, oral. And is he gonna... We're gonna get a visit from the dragon? I don't think so. No, that didn't count. Back to the depths. If you're willing to go ahead and use up the... Well, I was starting to say that you'd use another use of Hidden Body to run past the thieves and everything, but really I kind of want to fight them to get a chance of getting that bandit knife. It also has bleed as an auxiliary effect. And oh, let's go for this off too. If you don't like fighting the dogs, okay, they're not gonna let me do it. If you don't like fighting the dogs and you're quick enough, should amend, you can actually get here behind the bonfire, an actual bonfire, not one that the undead rest at, and they'll just run into it and burn up. Yeah, that guy was starting to go into hit. Oh, ouch. Yep, they can backstab and riposte you. Not for a whole lot of damage, but it is something to worry about. And needless to say, their attacks deal bleed just like when you use their weapons. Alright. Yeah, bandit knives are just good all-around weapons. They're quick, they have the bleed build-up. They don't really scale that well, but they have a very high critical bonus. If you're fighting enemies that can be backstabbed, it's just a good weapon. This time, we're pretty much going to go ahead and we're going to get behind that corner again. You limit the number that can approach us at once. And there's that there's that poison action. I kind of have to watch out for their attacks because bleed can fill up pretty quickly. Alright, now I see he's going into a... I say he, could be a she. They're going into that, when they pull the knife back and raise the shield, that's a pari stance. Enemies generally only riposte you. Oh, perfect, bandit knife. Enemies generally only do a riposte attack if they're in a stance that alerts you to it, I guess to make it fair. The trade-off is they will parry pretty much perfectly and then follow up with a riposte if they can do it in time. You know, it definitely makes it trickier. Alright, here we go. Capra time. So, longest buffs first. We got magic weapon. We're going to go ahead and try Hidden Body to see if we can use it to fool the dogs, and then we'll get our oral decoy ready. And my plan is, if it does work on Capra, I'll just go ahead and throw it in the back corner. Oh, okay, that's a myth confirmed. And I think it worked on the... I think Hidden Body also kept the dog from detecting us. He's here now, because we got close, but... Let's go ahead and Great Soul Arrow him. Alright. Now, Capra is a pretty slow-moving dude. Let's go ahead and Oral Decoy, see if we can lure him back. I think that works. Wow. Oh, I was, waited. I let him get too far away. Yeah, we already fought the one in the Demon Ruins. This guy is exactly the same, just a little more constrained space horizontally to work with. And let's go ahead and try to do the... I was trying to do the... You can actually get a plunging attack off the stairs on him. That counts. Ooh. Yeah, you can actually get a plunging attack right on the stairs against him. And likewise, he can do that. Pretty much try to do the same thing to you. And there we go. That's a pretty fun fight. Yeah, definitely props to whoever recommended that. That was fun. It's kind of weird that he hears a sound and immediately starts swinging there when he can still see you. That's kind of odd, but you know, I'll take it. All right, there's these two assassins again, as before, and then use the camera to lock onto this one. Step around before. Oh, okay. For they even know what's going on. I also forgot to get this last time, so I went straight to the shortcut. Key to the depths. That's the big reason why, even if you have the master key, you have to beat Capra Demon to get to the depths. It simply doesn't unlock the door, and there is a locked door blocking it. No other way in. There are back ways to a lot of areas in Dark Souls 1. This is not one of them. What's kind of interesting is that you may be wondering, can you go the shortcut through Blighttown that the master key unlocks and go that way? And what'll happen if you try to go back to the depths from there? Because these do connect. If I hadn't mentioned that, you know, that's how that works. And it doesn't actually. What happens is you get all the way to the door at the end of the depths, giant door, and it's locked. You have to have the key you get from the boss here to unlock it. And I think even if you do have the key, if you beat the dragon, you'll go all the way. This would be quite the journey just to test it. But I am pretty sure that if you do that, like, you know, get the key, leave here entirely, go all the way back, you go through Blighttown the back way, and then come up. I think you probably could use the key on the reverse side of the doors. I haven't tested that. That's a little weird, but I'm pretty sure it would work. I don't see why it wouldn't anyway. Another dog. And we're already at the spot where just adjoining areas really have enemies that, you know, they're the exact same, but they're just a little bit tougher because they're further in the game. Yeah. Butchers. Yeah, we already saw one of them, although she was a little underdressed. Ooh, ouch. I wasn't planning on needing my last Estus. You know, don't have much of a problem with the butchers, but they're being a little tricky this time. That's usually how it goes. They have a chance of dropping the bag they wear on their heads, and this is one of the first instances, because these are enemies that don't respawn, of enemies that have a guaranteed drop if you kill the last one of its type in the game. There's a mechanic I was sorely missing in Dark Souls 2, just how many things you have to farm for in that game. Let's go ahead and try to... Actually, let's go ahead and try to start jogging and do the poke. Didn't quite do the job, unfortunately. There we go. That's one of the obnoxious things when you've got these limited spaces here. Yeah, only so much room to maneuver. Alright, there's another butcher right up there. I'm going to go ahead and actually eat a humanity here. I don't think I've explained that before either. But yeah, items that increase your humanity, which are the humanities and the Firekeeper souls, will actually go ahead and will give you a full heal, in addition to, you know, the primary effect. Ooh, didn't quite get far enough. There we go. And yep, guaranteed drop. Oh, Cordo mentioned that the Blighttown door cannot be opened from the Blighttown side, even if you do have the key. Well, good to know. Yep, never actually tested that. I have done it the other way around, where I went backwards through Blighttown to get the whip and Power Within and all that. And yeah, I went back and then tried to leave through Blighttown, or try to go back up to the depths, and yeah, it didn't work. This is Laurentius, the pyromancy trainer I mentioned. I wanted to rescue him, even though I don't plan on using pyromancy, because he gives you a pyro flame, and you can trade that in to Snuggly the Crow, the trading NPC, for I believe a red Titanite chunk. If you upgrade it all the way, you get a red Titanite slab, but we're probably only going to need one, and we get one. So I'm not gonna stress too much about that. Not to mention it uses quite a few souls to upgrade the flame entirely. You see that right up there right at the top center, a little to the left on the screen. Yep, there's slime in the here in the depths, and it's pretty hard to hit. The slime enemies are resistant to everything but lightning and fire. I believe you also can't inflict them with bleed or poison either. Oh, hello. So it's going to take up quite a few of our remaining magic to deal with these guys. If you are able to use pyromancy, which in a normal run you would, that's one of the easiest places to farm them. They have a chance of dropping shards, same as the leeches, large and green, and they're trivial to kill with fireballs and combustion, the basic pyromancies. I can also imagine if you had it, you could probably just wade right in the middle of them and fire off one firestorm and kill them all. So 3 doesn't quite do it. You have to be really close to them. Alright, the overhead, yeah, about time for that. Oh, and I just realized, too, one thing that would make this a lot easier. Yeah, let's add some magic to our regular attacks. Almost doubles what we do. It might not seem like a lot, but yeah, it just makes our job a lot easier. And also see if we can get them to bounce off or to fall down early. Doesn't look like it. Okay. Oh, that got his attention though. Very nice. Cardo tosses in. It takes about 340,000 souls to upgrade the pyromancy all the way. Yeah, that's, I knew it was a lot, just not sure how many off the top of my head. Needless to say, if you're serious about farming shards, you want to get the ring that increases drop rates in the next plot dungeon, and then come back and deal with this. Of course, at that point, there's a merchant that sells them, and I don't know about you guys, but I would at that point prefer to probably just use the boss soul dupe lich, and just do that. Save a lot of time on farming. It's one of those things where it is an exploit, but I am kind of glad it exists. Because I honestly think I've paid my dues, spending hours and hours of this game, farming rats for humanity and farming slimes and leeches for shards. Not quite a never again, but pretty close. Oh hey, there's a butter toast summon sign. Interesting. Oh, there he goes. Huh. I think it's I have seen a couple. I have seen a couple summon signs here. Yeah, these rats. There are 5 here, and there's 4 further on. Gives you the best odds of, and I think that's one right there, gives you the best odds of farming humanity if you're into that kind of thing. There are 2 covenants that require you to donate humanity to them, and they take it from your stockpile. The 11 on the top left right now. instead of like being able to hand them items like for some of the other things. So there's just nothing quite so tedious as, one by one, popping a humanity, eating it, giving it to the NPC, to raise your covenant rank one at a time. So, if you don't have the master key, that's the key you need to get to the door I just opened where the bonfire is. Your very first run through the depths, that's going to be pretty harsh. Wrong door. Not a boss, though. The depths, I want to say, probably has the highest number of fog doors that don't really do anything. And I can't say don't really do anything, but just separate out areas. Another channeler here. I have fairly good odds of getting his trident this time. Okay, the blue flash that went off, you can see the blue trail around those rats. That's a buff to their attack. That's what his the trident does. I kind of hope he would have gotten one hit in, because I would have poised through it and then, just shown how much damage they do, but it's a lot. The big rats and the small ones have the same amount of health, and I'm pretty sure they do the same amount of damage. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they do about the same amount of damage, but the smaller ones tend to run away from you until you corner them, whereas the big ones are aggressive and go after you as soon as they detect you. And you might be thinking that, once again, I could have equipped Remedy and saved myself some trouble here. I'd actually forgotten that the rats poison you. Alright. There's a couple ways to go from here. The reason why I turned human is one of them. It'll be the first visit from the friend we didn't see in Demon Ruins coming up ahead. Speaking of friends, if I remember my depths right, yes. Speaking of friends. Given that he's blind, I wonder if this will work. Yes, excellent. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and retreat. Yes, that is a big rat. He has a guaranteed drop of a humanity, and does a lot of damage. That's really about it to him. I know he's going to charge in, so okay. I thought oral decoy worked, maybe not. Let's go try that again. It doesn't? I guess maybe not. Well, in that case, let's use hidden body so I can get closer to him. Open up with one of these. Oh, hello. Yeah, he's one. The Dark Souls has kind of a interesting element. And that a lot of its enemies, and you can see with the giant axe sticking out of this guy's eye, that quite a few enemies are actually blind, and they track you by hearing. And that's one of them. And that's why hidden body didn't really seem to do anything to him. And also something to point out is that you can see how the poison meter is taking a lot longer to empty, even though it's much shorter than last time. And that's simply the fact that it's a fixed duration. It just takes up more or less of your gauge, depending on what kind of poison and resistance you have. Is there another one of these? And I'm going to go ahead and open up the shortcut and come back to this area. I'm just going to go ahead and deal with the slime first, so that I can try to get some shards if possible. I know there's one right up there. There he is. Yep. Okay. There we are. Yeah, as long as you're close, they'll go ahead and try to drop down onto you. 1, 2, 3, and R2. There we go. Yeah. As you might surmise, by the fact I haven't gotten a single drop yet, drop rate is unfortunately pretty low for those guys. It really isn't practical to try to farm them. NPC isn't here. Normally there's an NPC here, a merchant. I'm guessing that defeating the boss of Blighttown, you're defeating Quelaag, moved him on. That's kind of annoying. I was hoping to get a crystal weapon from him. And there's a difference there. The small rats were running away from us. The big one actually moved in from that area toward us. These stairs go ahead and go back up to here. And this is the shortcut. The other stairs up at the end of the room that you saw are actually the way to the boss. So we're pretty close. There's just one area left. Well, two areas, really, to the depths. So that's, let's see, I fought 6 initially, 12, we have those 3 twice. It's probably about 15 slimes and our first drop. Maybe 2, but, no more than 2. Yeah, it just really isn't practical. And that time, that got the counter hit on him, I think. Oh no, that was a counter hit, the extra 30. Okay. And as soon as we get further here, I think there's... Yeah. We actually get to see... Never mind. Jumped the gun a little bit. You have to be further in. This is about where he appears, if I remember right. We'll also got one of these first. Okay, you see that skull icon? That is not good stuff. Yeah, that is the curse effect. If your gauge fills with curse, it instantly kills you and leaves you with the curse status. That lowers your max HP. And this is noting the fact that we both have poise, so we're able to shrug off each other's attacks. Also, both of our attacks do bleed. And yeah, there we go. Took a gamble there at being able to outdamage him with that magic weapon buff. As another hit probably would have filled the bleed meter, and if your bleed meter fills, you don't instantly die. What happens is you take a chunk of damage based on I think it's based on your max HP. So it can very easily kill you. Now the interesting thing about these enemies is they're easy to kill, and their only attack is that gas attack, which it kills you slowly. Well, as long as you have a decent curse resistance. Curse resistance is increased by certain equipment selections that say resistance like everything else, and also by your humanity, capping out 10, again, like most other things. So since we have 10 humanity, we have a pretty good curse resistance. Deal with him. Interesting. Yeah, they tend to be very patient. Right, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to eschew that for now, because we want to get back up and... Okay, so a two-handed doesn't quite kill them. There we go. Yeah, I'm also used to doing more damage than this. I think the Claymore probably would have been one-shotting them. But, katana are fun. And actually, the reason why we didn't go down there is because we'll be getting that next anyway. Oh. Especially if I keep slipping. Yes, well, how the deal here is that you want to go up this route, and there is a gap immediately to the side there. So you need to get a running start, and then jump as you round the corner. There's a humanity, which we don't really need, but still pretty handy. And the route we could have gone earlier, which is a Ring of the Evil Eye. What that one does is it gives you HP, I want to say 20 HP, every time you kill an enemy. if you're in a area with a lot of minor enemies that gradually do damage to you, for example, if you're dealing with the swarm of hollows, on the way to gargoyles and stuff like that, it can be pretty effective. But really, in Dark Souls, you don't fight enemy. It's definitely more of a quantity over quality when it comes to things trying to kill you, or quality over quantity. Sorry, quantity would be ideal. Quality over quantity, and you're more worried about single dangerous enemies than a large swarm of weaker ones. That's not to say it doesn't have its use, but especially if you're worried about conserving Estus. One more trip to the bonfire to heal up, and we're going to go ahead and change our spell loadout, because most of them, while I was impressed with Oral Decoy against the Camper Demon, I'm pretty sure it's not going to work on the boss here. So we're going to go ahead and switch to, don't need that, don't need that. Let's use Great Heavy, sure, and that's about it really, isn't it? Yeah, I guess that's really all we need for this. So, okay, that's true, that's true. A repair for a certain eventuality. Cardo mentions remembering farming more in Demon Souls. Yeah, Demon Souls is it's hands down the worst. I mean, I think 2 might be worse if you're obsessed with rare drops, in the Mo style. I remember things like the Witch Mask in Dark Souls 2. It's like a 1% drop off an enemy that spawns once. Yeah. So Dark Souls 2 is definitely the harder one to 100% if that's what you're into. But Demon Souls requires you to farm for basic upgrade materials. There were a lot of things you simply couldn't ever buy, and you didn't really get a lot of souls either. There were a couple of spots you could farm, easily enough, but NPC summons, not really worth it in this fight. If I was going for the sunlight, you see the silhouette of that rat there. If I was going for the Sunbro Covenant, Warriors of Sunlight, took me a second, then that would be worth it. But yeah, not so much. Here we are. And let's see. Yeah, I have a second after the fight starts. So yeah, if you aren't aware of it, and there's no dialogue or anything or music in this cutscene, so I'll go ahead and talk over it. If you're not aware, in Demon Souls there are, I want to say 8, maybe 9 upgrade paths, all of which use a different kind of stone, and all of which there are no takebacks for. You get one meltstone, it's called, that resets the upgrade completely. You go right back to square one. That's your only way to undo things. Otherwise, you have to go one at a time, and when you're progressing through the path, there are certain breakpoints that you have to upgrade then, or you forfeited it. You have to use the meltstone to reset it. And yeah, so you had to farm for items, and it was easily, especially your first time through, it was possible to easily lose out on all of those materials, and basically have to start over from scratch. All right, we would love that dash move that Gaping Dragon does. Give us a chance to get to his tail here. As a dragon, well, I can't say as a dragon. This is the first, real dragon we fought, and even then, lore-wise, he's not technically a real dragon, but you know what I mean. He has here we go. Missed. Like a one-hit end. His head takes bonus damage. That's usually a good target. But dragon bosses have items that you get if you destroy their tails, like that. We can't actually use it, but it keeps him from using it against us, not the axe, but the tail itself. There we are. Don't get too greedy. Once he starts charging, he automatically bowls you over and does a lot of damage. As a matter of fact, I think even that was risking being a little risky there. Didn't mean to kick him. Yeah, when he hunches back, that's opening one of 2 moves, either the swipe or he starts flying, which, as you might imagine, being he's a fatty. Took that personally. He doesn't go. He doesn't go very far. Can't actually fly very far, and the idea is just to be out of sight if you're, especially if you're locked on, because that breaks lock, to get it to just drop on you for a good chunk of damage. Yep, he's going to swing again, I think. You can also just walk around like this and try to drop and try to just swing himself down on you by riding himself. Yeah, like that. Does a lot of damage. It's also preparation for the charge, which again does a lot of damage if you're in the way. Okay, there we go. There's a swipe. Gives me time to rebuff. That's another couple hits. Excellent. Love that charge. He's so big that every single movement also causes that shockwave that we saw with the Taurus Demon and a couple other enemies. And so you don't want to get too close to him when he's stomping around. There's that dive. Doesn't usually move him too far, but yeah, I think he can cross the arena with it if he's has the end to. Yeah, you'd think he could just walk right up and hit his back claw while he's doing that. Just not worth the risk. That's it. Yeah, I promised to show off that gesture. I think this is a good time for it. Nope, not that one. This one. Yep, it's a facepalm. So, we can either walk the entire way back to the depths, contrary to what you might, what it looks like with the doors here. None of those are actually have anything to do with anything. That's just decoration. So, I almost forgot to get the set here. This is another starter set. I think we're supposed to assume the warrior made it to the Gaping Dragon and got eaten. And homeward. Got, yeah, and the other thing too is that the fact how I mentioned with the armor mechanics. Basically, the more you have, and the more you have over the enemy damage, the less and less damage gets through. And I tested this once in Dark Souls 2 by switching from I had like the maxed out. I think it's the Elan set. It's called, you know, the purple samurai armor, and I maxed it out. You know, plus 10 on everything. Had like 1,000 points of defense basically. Hey, this guy. We're gonna let him talk.
Ah, hello.
But yeah, maxed out the defense and compared it with two different fights. One of the bosses early on, the Lost Sinner, which basically is a handful of high damage melee attacks, and the and like a basic archer enemy, you know, right at the start of the game, thanks to Twixt. And comparing like being naked versus the full armor set, it was very noticeable on the archer. I went from something like 12 hits to kill me to something like 30. You know, huge difference.
Very well. Then I am pleased to share.
And holding that off for a second, Frampt is the first of two people that will basically try to encourage you which ending to take. There's two paths. He is all about the Age of Fire. You know, Gwyn has gone mad. You know, the god of Anor Londo that had the linked the first flame before. It's going out. You know, he's you know, something's happened to him, and he wants us to pick up the slack. There'll be another primordial serpent we'll be meeting later that will basically encourage us to do something similar but different. And I'm going to make, and he's easy to miss if you don't actually if you don't actually meet with him before the next two major plot areas and move on to the next arc. He's gone for good. Just doesn't even show up. So yeah, there's a major part of the game is completely missable, which I kind of respect, kind of annoyed by. He's your merchant, for lack of a better word. He will, you basically feed him things, he gives you souls for them. You can also feed him larger Titanite pieces, and he'll break them down to smaller ones. The main use of this one is this is why we held off on using these souls. Soul of a Lost Undead is 200 if you eat it, 500 if he does. And the large soul likewise 400 and 500, respectively. So we just go ahead and give them all to him now. Not much of a difference, but hey, you know, every little bit helps. We just got about 10,000 souls from that. And he can also, you know, he also eats boss souls. And equipment that you've got duplicates of, or you don't plan on using, stuff like this. Not really going to bother with this for now. That's something to do, again, off stream. But it's there. That's how you do it. And if we had any chunks we weren't using, like, for example, if you find it easier to farm blue chunks from the golems than going back to Blighttown and fighting leeches, yeah, I think you get 5 for each one you break. 3 or 5. So that's an alternate means of doing it.
Farewell, chosen undead.
Okay. And then, yeah, going back to the armor comparison test, and then likewise about 1,000 points of defense and armor from armor, and testing it against the Lost Sinner, and I went from being killed in 3 hits to 4. You know, or it was yeah, basically, and even then, pretty marginal increases both times. You know, armor makes very little difference against high damage enemies.
That I have requested
And it's just kind of frustrating.
But I also want you to know that it is not meant in ill.
Defeating the Capra Demon is the event that makes these the other 3 pop up.
Peace. No, go ahead.
There's our group of clerics that are on their way to seek the Rite of Kindling, which I've mentioned before in the stream. That's you can get it too, or get it instead as something as you might expect if something bad happens to them.
Shortly.
And that will let you go from kindling once to getting 10 Essus flasks to thrice and getting 20. You also talk. They don't really say much, but you can.
Hmm? What have we here? You look awfully raggedy. Times are grim. The least you can do is look sharp.
This noble visage raggedly.
My lady like that. You might scare her off for good. Oh, you again. What business have you? Don't suppose we can help, though. We accompany my lady on her righteous mission. It is quite a chore, but I'm stuck with her. And Nico, too. I can't very well abandon them now.
It is pretty amusing how Vince here pretty much changes completely from warning you off to being pretty friendly, all in the span of about 5 minutes. It's probably because, you know, they may have originally planned something a little more in depth for the clerics, but as it is, they leave literally the next transition after they appear and you talk to them. So, you know, not exactly much time to to give them character development.
Exactly my idea of a good time, but what can one do? I do hope we meet again, rarely or not.
Okay. And last but not least, and pretty much everybody does this. You actually can't see your face.
And you no doubt have yours. We must not let this curse overcome us.
Oh, you can see my face too at that angle.
Did I not explain
Warhead doesn't go quite all the way.
of our tasks? Or are you so uncouth as to lack such judgment? By the looks of you.
Yeah, there's Dark Souls for you, teaching the youngins words like uncouth and pernicious ketifs. Did I miss the soul up here? I think I did not. Okay. Well, next step is to do something you probably wouldn't have thought you could do. Even if you figured out you could do it, why would you think to try? But yeah, that's going back to the Raven, wherever it is. So we have to get on this arch. Little roll platforming, Demon Soul style. There we are. And getting onto here, because we need this. If you position it right, you can actually get back onto the ledge without having to. Normally, you'd probably think that if you miss it, you have to go all the way down and do it again. But yeah, if you time it right or position yourself right, you can get right back on here, go all the way up and around. You can either keep going. You can either keep going this way, fall off the cliff to your death, or go this way and chill in the bird nest. Takes about 20 seconds or so. Yep, there we are. I have to admit, I was one of the people that was told about this. I did not discover it on my own. All right, this will take us right back to the Undead Asylum. A few things have changed. There's a couple more hollows up front, and they're all armed. They have those torques this time. Yeah, torqued hollows are deceptively dangerous. You know, they have those the flurry attacks that do a lot of damage, and these guys aggro from quite a ways away. It's easy to be overwhelmed if you're not careful. And every time somebody gets killed by hollows, they become a little less of a Dark Souls player. Normally what you do with Snuggly over here, and I mentioned her a couple times, this is where we meet her.
You, give me.
There's a thought experiment. Which of the trading birds is the most annoying? But yeah, what you do is you give one of the items, and if you let's go ahead and drop one she doesn't want. Here, like this one. You know, that'll keep you warm, right?
No.
Yeah.
No. No warm.
Oh, it's
no
plenty
soft.
warm. Okay, you got me there. Luckily, and you can't take your item back. No problems. Now, what you do is you go ahead and what's something that? Yeah, let's do this one. This will be 2 Twinkling Titanite when we come back for it. And you notice that she didn't reject it, so we can just leave it there. Whenever you go through a area transition, I believe, I don't know if the bonfire itself counts, but I know quitting and reloading the game counts. I know going to once you have the ability to warp between bonfires, doing that counts. And it will replace the item that you dropped with an item of hers. I'll be doing most of those off screen. You can look it up on the wiki or something if you're really curious about what does what, and some of them are kind of weird. Basically, the 3 mosses each give you Twinkling Titanite. An egg vermifuge, if you find one of those, that's good for a Titanite chunk, I think. The sack is actually good for an item that we don't have the strength to use. But stuff like that. Alright, let's get some more dexterity and start raising that intelligence. We're going to need it pretty soon. And the lack of vitality has been starting to hamper us. So let's go ahead and bump that up too. And let's do strength at 20. We're probably going to stop there. So dex at 20 as well to even it out. And I think that looks pretty good. Yeah, we will have to start raising intelligence pretty soon. The next spell that's really useful for the Spellblade thing has a number of attacks based on your intelligence. Cardo also reminds me about the vagrants. I have not mentioned them yet because we haven't run into any of them yet. They are they're items. They're kind of. They're enemies that appear when items are abandoned, in another world. And if you kill them, you get it. Usually it's souls or humanity or stuff like that. But yeah, they're interesting. Hopefully we run into one. They're pretty rare.